Well, look, many say their families are going through hell, living in hell, going, let me explain the concept of family. Let me start there. Uh-huh. It's both real and psychological. Reality never changes. Reality is what comes naturally. Truth and reality are related in that truth is something you can only come to realize. It's whenever you go, wow, now I got it, that you realize truth. The aspects that are real about you are your boundaries of space and time, and the fact that you are an eternal spirit being at the core who only became life when God breathed life into you. So that when your body and even when your body and mind returns to dust, you will continue to exist in the spirit realm eternally. So given reality never changes, the aspects that you you can are able to change, such as your thoughts, emotions, and experiences, you can change. So they are purely psychological, not real. Once again, your genealogy, speaking of your bloodline, of which you had no choice in making, is real, notwithstanding it is bounded by time and space. When it is praiseworthy, productive, and or noble, many use it for bragging rights. My child went to this prestigious college. My, has turned out to be this or that. Each society has a hierarchical structure and ladder and certain professions that they deem more noteworthy than others. In one bracket or the other. Well, look, in my view, um, you should never look up to anyone. Neither should you look down on anyone. See people for who they are, exactly who they are. If you look up, you overcompensate. If you look down, then what you're doing is you're condemning. And as long as a person lives, she can become the best version of him or herself. Children should be nurtured, not raised. You should only raise cattle. You shouldn't raise your children to take care of you. You should create the conducive environment wherein they blossom into becoming their best selves. Human beings are born already knowing how they think, feel, and experience, and in mature time, they are able to realize what they want to do for an ambitious career. Human beings are born individuals, and as such, one of a kind. Not No two people are created alike. Two children born to the same parents and nurtured in the similar or same environment come out different. Why? Because it depends on the center into which they deposit information. Human beings come wired with five centers of receptivity: the center of right perception, the center of perversion, the center of imagination, the center of memory, and the center of sleep. Finally, distantness or closeness in family is about feelings, and so it's purely psychological. Like I said before, genealogy forms the blueprint of a memory, and then there is the karmic memory, among others. For the entire human body is a silo of memory, like 10 different. I mean, I named two already. Then you have elemental, atomic, conscious and unconscious, articulate and inarticulate, evolutionary and sensory memory. However, going back to karmic memory, it is the avenue through which you determine who you are and who you will be and continue to be, through which you transform through karma. The word creature simply means created. All other creatures come 90% fixed, living creatures, and only 10% alterable. Human beings are also creatures. On the other hand, but already knowing how to be, that's the only being God created. Human beings come the exact opposite, only 10% fixed and 90% alterable. So, particularly before the age of 20, human beings can change. They can be influenced, inoculated, brainwashed into someone, into who you want them to be. Um, um, they can be influenced. Karma means action. You are the choices you make given your actions. Therefore, i.e., you can choose to be different from your parents, even through your karma choices. Another example is that you shouldn't want to carry forward any generational curses. Once again, with your karma choices, you can do that. You can alter what you don't like, and what you like, you can keep. So, in the case of adults, because with children, the need to feel close is understandable. Yes, I get that. However, with adults, feeling close or distant is more psychological than anything else because it has to do with expectation. And it's always best not to expect. If you don't expect, you never get disappointed. When you love, you shouldn't expect in return. Love is something that you can only give away. It's unconditional. Hello? There's no other way to give love but unconditionally. You are the producer. So you can only give it away and replenish your stock. Yeah? For example, you can never rise in love. You will never hear a concept like that. You can only fall. Because when you share love with someone intimately, yeah, you're compromised. So you can only break even if that person also falls. If that person doesn't fall, then you're being exploited. Punta final, point blank. Look. Let's be real about this. Let's be real. So in the case of adults, because with children the need to feel close is understandable. However, with adults, feeling close or distant is more psychological than anything else because it has to do with expectation. It is always better not to expect. When you don't expect, you never get disappointed. Love is something that can only be given unconditionally. You are the producer, so you can only give it away and replenish your stock. In giving away, you don't hold people to ransom, and if you are not giving love unconditionally, then what you are giving is credit, not love. Finally, your intellect is a tool for exploration, not for drawing conclusions. Hello. Your intellect is your tool for exploration. So, life is an expedition. So you shouldn't anchor, i.e., to anchor in a belief system. If you anchor, how can you set sail? Unless you set sail, how can you explore and know how you experience, how you think, how you feel? Can you even know God unless you go out and explore instead of anchoring? So, your intellect is a tool for exploration, not for drawing conclusions. The moment you draw conclusions about a family member, i.e., you're writing that person off, when as long as she lives, there's always the awesome possibility that she transforms into becoming the best version of him or herself. Therefore, let it be so, tia. Da, ite la, que así sea. Ayo, ayo.